Hello and welcome to the United Stand. This is instant Manchester United transfer news reaction, and Serge Aurier has apparently agreed a 5-year deal to join Manchester United. Where's this coming from? Straight away, we'll also be talking about Danny Rose, but this has come from PSG sources, journalists close to PSG. Obviously it's in French, but we've retweeted it off the main account. We've researched this journalist close to PSG, and he's pretty accurate most of the time. Is it true? That's what's being thrown out by Rocco Gorci. We've had a lot of false positives this season, false negatives actually, but it's interesting because I think Aurier to United had sort of died off because the court case hasn't been resolved, but it sort of came from nowhere a couple of weeks ago. Obviously can play as a right back, can play centre back, can play left back. When you look at him statistically, 24 years of age, very tenacious, very aggressive, very good in what I would say is a pub league, to be honest, but certainly somebody that I think United have been linked to over the last 6 months, and somebody who's definitely looking for a move away from Paris Saint-Germain. United, I feel, do need some backup in that area, especially with Fosu Mensah now training for Crystal Palace, even though we've not announced that deal yet. He's training with Palace, so he's obviously off there. So we do need more depth in that area. All I can say is Serge Aurier has agreed a 5-year deal with Manchester United, according to a journalist very close to PSG, and this has come out in the last few minutes. It's not a surprise, it's a player that we've been linked to. Is it a player that we would want? Yes. Di Marzio's sort of staying Inter Milan. Aurier has retweeted an Inter Milan tweet in the last couple of hours, so tentatively I would be, where would I be on this? I don't know, it's such a hard transfer window to sort of gauge on, but we need more proof, says Dante, and I think he's totally right. But I would probably lean towards a PSG source knowing more about a PSG player and where he's going to go than anything else that's out there at the moment. And the reason I would do that is because when somebody is close to a certain club and they are talking about exits from a club, there's no glamour in getting it wrong. There's glamour in saying PSG are going to sign Mbappe, according to my source, because it gets everybody excited because it's a player coming to your club. But when you are talking about a player leaving your club, when you get that wrong or you're inaccurate, there's not really any glamour in it. You know, he's a PSG source. Getting that wrong doesn't do anything for him. So happy birthday, says Ethan. Thank you very much. Perfect signing, says Morgan Relks. Rose instead, Mark, says Mike Sir. Well, let's talk about Danny Rose, linked to Manchester United because of these comments that he's made overnight in relation to the ambition shown by Spurs and his own ambitions, probably to do with money, which, this is the modern game. Kyle Walker's just gone for £50 million, earning a lot of money, and I think Danny Rose probably would quite like a move back up north, whether it be Manchester City or Manchester United. I personally don't think he's bothered who. It won't be Manchester City because they've got Mendy. Is Danny Rose looking for a move because he wants some more money? Yes. Is that a problem? No, that's the modern footballer. The reality of it is he would probably cost about £50 million. Do we want him? Some United fans would say yes. I would say no. I think Luke Shaw's better, Luke Shaw's younger, and they're both injured at the moment, and Danny Rose has the more serious injury. He's recovering from knee surgery. Luke Shaw is an injury concern, and I think that will be established more and more over this season. And there is the argument that if Danny Rose is going to be consistently fitter than Luke Shaw, then you would probably go for him over. You probably would go for Danny Rose over Luke Shaw, but I want Luke Shaw to do well. I don't want Danny Rose, and also we're dealing with Tottenham here, so whatever people think about Danny Rose, do you want to spend 50 million on him? Because that is what we'll spend. And he's 27. I like Danny Rose. I think he's done a good job, but I think I think Spurs are almost going to become like certain teams in the past, really. I'm trying to think of a couple of recommendations here. Manchester United to a certain extent, whereby you're a product of the system and the manager. So I think Pochettino has brought the best out of many Spurs players. I think if you take them away from that environment, are they the same player playing in a different system? I don't want Danny Rose, to be honest. But I didn't want Matic, and Lukaku wasn't my first choice, so we'd probably sign him and he'll probably do really well. What does my opinion count? It's just a fan opinion. But I would rather we looked at Luke Shaw, and to be honest, if we get Aurier, he can play left back. So we do need a left-sided player, says Dane. We do need a left-sided player, but we don't need a left-sided player who's injured like our left-sided players. Danny Rose is injured. He's not going to be back till September. Rose plays the same way as Shaw, Mark, says Jordan Curley. Well, I think Luke Shaw's the better option. Luke Shaw is also going to be back in September. In fact, he's already back training. Ashley Young, already back training. So the Danny Rose thing doesn't make sense on age, because 27, well, no, I suppose, no, let's forget the age. Doesn't make sense on ability, because Luke Shaw's just as good, if not better, with a more of an upward curve. Doesn't make sense on fee, because it would be around 50 million, which is too much. And doesn't make sense on fitness, because he's not actually fit at the moment. And as Ewan Hacking says, this is just about more money, which I think it is, but you can't be critical of a player about that just because it's about more money, because it is about more money. But that's the case with a lot of players. Just a little one that people might not be aware of, but I have spoken about it quite a bit over the summer. A player that I quite fancied, Steven Nzonzi of Sevilla, formerly of Stoke. He's handed in a transfer request. Obviously he won't be coming to United, because I don't think we're looking for another CDM. I think we're looking for a sort of an Aurier or a Fabinho who can play a number of positions. Rose can play forward or back. Yes, he can. Look, whatever you think about Danny Rose, and that may be a good or a bad perception, it's going to be too much money. But let's go back to Serge Aurier, because a few people have joined us a little bit late. So a PSG journalist close to PSG obviously has said that a 5-year deal has been agreed with Manchester United and Serge Aurier, and it's now about personal terms, and there shouldn't be a problem in relation to the UK permit to come into the UK. The actual charge in relation to the assaulting of a police officer, I think it was, that doesn't mean he can't come and play just because he gets found guilty or anything like that. It's actually because of the criminal record and getting a work permit in the UK, which they Swagger Man Dan's caught me live for the first time. Brandon Keats is on about this. He says he's banned in the UK. That is the issue, is whether we can get a work permit for him. But United are obviously confident they can. I would welcome Aurier. I think he has got the lateral abilities to come to United. There's temperamental issues, but I don't think that's an issue. I think Mourinho can manage that. As I've said many a times, the only person who really managed Balotelli for any length of time and managed his temper was Mourinho. So he can do it, and I think that's what he wants to do, and he'd be a very good deal. Any Bale news? People talking about Bale. Yeah, game over. Bale's game over. I still think we'll get Perisic. But there's nothing to add in relation to that. It's very much about Aurier in the last few minutes, and obviously Danny Rose is breaking everywhere because of his comments, which, to be honest with you, whether he comes to United or not, which I don't think he will, I don't really respect him for those comments. There's a way of doing things, and look at what Matic did. He basically wanted to leave Chelsea. Conte admitted it yesterday, didn't want to lose him. Matic didn't go on the tour, was forced to train privately. But nothing ever came out publicly. We didn't know that. In fact, as I apologised this morning, I actually thought Chelsea wanted to get rid of him. We now know the truth, they didn't. So Matic managed that professionally, quietly. Danny Rose, still a Spurs player, does an interview with The Sun and basically throws his team under the bus. Not a great thing to do, but he's not a United player, so don't really bother about that. You may not respect his comments, but he's not wrong, says Anthony Haig. Barkley news, Ross Barkley, not heard anything. I think Chelsea and Spurs are probably going to battle it out for him. I'd welcome him at United, but Pereira's the player I want to see. I don't know what's going to happen with Pereira, but it's not about them at the moment. Remember tonight it's 8 o'clock, it is the Skype show, so you can all Skype in and have your say. Look forward to that. But very much this live show today is about Aurier, Serge Aurier. Has he agreed this deal with United? Will it get announced officially? Can it get announced officially? Have we got the work permit? The court case is irrelevant. It's whether we can get the work permit. People can come and work in the UK with criminal records. It's whether they are granted that ability to do that. And if United have crossed that bridge, then I expect Aurier probably is going to come to us. And also Danny Rose. A lot of people thinking he's coming to United. For me, no. I'm happy with what we've got. Let's give Luke Shaw a good run there. Hopefully if we're playing a 3-5-2, it doesn't necessarily need that left back anyway. You've got Luke Shaw, you've got Ashley Young who can cover there. If we signed Perisic, he can play in that position. So yeah, tonight at 8 o'clock, everybody. I'm not doing the preview tonight. It's 8 o'clock. It's Skype Goldbridge on a Thursday at 8 o'clock until the start of the season, and also Monday as well. There's a comment here. The press have said that there is a 15% chance of us signing Perisic. Oh, well, let's listen to the press. Fabinho ran out of training 3 days ago, Maradan. I would suspect he's come back. Zlatan, we've covered. Do you think we will sign anybody before Sunday? I think United are probably desperately trying to get some deals done before Sunday. I think we might get a deal done before Sunday or in the next week or so, and then I think we'll get another one done towards the end of August. I think we'll get 2 done, but I do think unfortunately it is going to be one of them situations where we end up getting a deal done late on. And then there's a lot of names being mentioning. Renato Sanchez, Willian. I don't think Willian's coming. That was talking about last season. Renato Sanchez could just happen. Verratti's not going to happen. There's no way that Neymar goes to PSG and then they sell Verratti, because Neymar will do his top. That won't be part of the agreement. In fact, PSG want to sign Mbappe and Oblak apparently. So yeah, Renato Sanchez, we've spoken about him. I think ultimately United will be active. They do want to bring some more players in, but effectively I'm interested at the moment in this Serge Aurier thing. I think it'd be a very, very good signing. As Flatica says, he's a beast. Let's see what happens. But as of this moment, we think he's signing for United. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you all soon.